Hi, everyone. Welcome to the commentary zone. As you enter the room, please give us a thumbs up because we asked you to. That's it. How are you today, Jamal?
Good. So I got some work done real quick. Just kind of had to sit down and hammer through it. So that's good. So the rest of my day should be kind of easy. So yeah,
Fingers
how's yours?
crossed. Not too bad. Ran an errand or two. I stopped by Burger King to get some onion rings. Yes, I still love their onion rings. Ugh, I don't eat anything else from their menu but onion rings.
So you really just like drive to the drive-through, like, can I get some onion rings?
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I have no shame.
But I mean, it's kind of like that to a point. It's like it's funny. Like if we have the time, you would go to, well, at least for me, Wendy's, get junior bacon cheeseburgers, then drive to McDonald's and get their French fries, then drive to maybe Casper's if they still open, get the shit. If you could, you would drive to different different restaurants and put your meal together. Don't play.
Oh my God. I'm not that bad. I just have certain places that, like, if I want French fries, it has to be McDonald's. And if
hmm
I want onion rings, it has to be Burger King.
I didn't know. Like, people don't understand what McDonald's French fries are, like a cult following. I'm not gonna sit here and lie.
Yeah.
I'm
And,
not gonna sit
and
here
I
and lie.
don't have like any other allegiances like that. Just those two things. And if I do have preferences on where I don't like to go. I don't like to go to Subway and I don't like Olive Garden.
Um, okay, let me just talk about that real quick before we get started. So now Olive Garden, I'm gonna need you to lay off of Olive Garden. I love the breadsticks. Quit playing. Don't do that to me. And the fettuccine alfredo. Stop it. And then Subway for me is only if it's the only thing around. Like,
Listen,
it has to be the only thing open.
I've sent you laboratory results on Subway. I'm sure there's lab results still floating around on the internet on Taco Bell. Yeah.
Oof.
I just I don't partake of those things.
Okay. Do you have Jack in the Box where you live, right?
No, we don't.
Oh, was there Jack in the Box in Brooklyn or New York?
No, there was White
Okay.
Castle. White Castle was the shizzers in
Okay,
Brooklyn.
because growing up out here, we had literally had Jack in the Box. So we would, after school, we would go to Jack in the Box and we get like the two or four for $1 tacos.
Hmm.
And what the taco meat was supposed to be, you did not want to know.
Oh,
I'll put it this way: well, at least back then, Jack in the Box owned the Purina Doll Company. I'm just gonna leave it at
shut
that.
up.
That was allegedly.
So is that what Taco Bell, like what the
No,
lab results said was pink matter that made up the meat in their tacos?
that's no, not Taco Bell. This, like, Jack in the Box has tacos. So I'm
Oh,
purely talking about Jack in the Box and their tacos. Like, when I was young,
oh.
and someone told me that, they're like, yeah, allegedly, blah blah blah. I'm like, but you just didn't ruin my taco for a day, for a day.
Mm. Oh my
But
God.
anywho,
Anywho, hi everybody. Hi Black
hi everyone.
Lavender. Hi Paranormal Witch Pixie or Willow Farmata. Hey Susan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget to hit those thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Um, so besides our eating habits or lack thereof, today we're talking about Basketball Wives, season 9, episode 3. There's no name to these episodes. Um, I don't know how the first part of this episode was just fluff to me with the
Mm-hmm.
women arriving to the
Yeah.
two camps. You know, uh, Jackie trying her best to be the peacemaker and blah blah blah. But there were two topics that did catch my attention. One was Liza. She's Liza, right? Her name is
Liza.
Liza. Yeah. Okay. And the college tuition, the college fund money.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the last part of the episode, which was the conversation between Kristen, who's in Camp A, Evelyn's house, coming over to Camp B, Jackie's house, to talk to OG to get a better understanding of what OG went through.
Exactly.
And I'm not the biggest fan of Kristen, but I will give her a point for actually being open enough, which is none of the other women are. But
Right.
she's being open enough to ask, please explain to me. I think originally she wanted to know her feelings, but I guess OG corrected that very quickly. And then I also want to touch on something that came on earlier with DJ Richie Sky, that apparently this conversation was very much so cut down and edited down. And
Yeah.
there's something else that I noticed, because like OG seemed to have gotten like really agitated out of nowhere, like when she was saying, muttering under her breath, this why I don't talk to these hoes or something like this. Like it seemed out of the ordinary for me, because she was speaking normally before that. And
Hmm.
Kristen just seemed so calm and, just asking the questions. And the table was small. Obviously, all of the persons at the table would have heard what OG said, but Kristen didn't have a response as if she was in the same conversation at the same time. I don't know. I just have a problem with editing. And then that confirmed it when I listened to DJ Richie Scott. I've gone on too much. You go ahead. You tell me, what did you think about the episode?
I can pick up the same 2 points. It was more that the conversation seemed disjointed. So I was like, well, the reactions didn't seem to match. So it kind of threw me off. I'm like, well,
Mm-hmm.
Kristen's very, very calm and, inquisitive. OG just seems agitated the whole time. But I don't understand. I didn't understand why OG would be agitated from the get go. It was just weird. Like she was
Mm-hmm.
very defensive when Kristen just came and asked, like, as a woman of a similar palate, I have not experienced, I have not seen this within this group of ladies.
Mm-hmm.
So I respected her for saying that and understanding, like, I haven't done it. She's not saying you haven't. She's saying I haven't. So it was just the conversation was too short. You knew it was longer. Let's be honest. And then with Kristen, I struggle with her only because of this. You desperately wanted to be in with that group. You did everything you could to be in with Evelyn and her group. So for me, it's hard to look at her and not have a bias or think that she has a
Mm-hmm.
bias.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I struggled with her. I'm like, well, you're friends with them, so you're not really gonna come out and say on camera, like, yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
She never
But
she never said like, okay, I hear you. Well, I have not experienced this myself. I can see from your perspective I can kind of guess how you feel.
or even say, I know how I would feel if that happened to me.
That's
Because
another way.
that was the thing. You know, um, these women stomp all over each other's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like, why are they condemning OG for voicing her experiences or encounters with the various group members? To me, it seems like if you attack someone else's experiences, you're either A, completely oblivious, or B, you're scared of acknowledging that because you know you're guilty of something
Right.
involving that. You see what I mean? Like, and it's from the beginning. Like I remember Reese. They attacked Reese, but God bless her. She was just like that little chihuahua that would not give up.
Mm-hmm.
She had the issues with her child's father. She had these women coming at her left, right,
Mm-hmm.
and center. But it was all because she wouldn't fall in line. And I think that's been repeated over all of the years. If you don't fall in line behind, Shawnee, and unfortunately, who Shawnee has appointed as her general, Evelyn, like the worst spirited individual ever. And if you don't fall in line behind these two women, then they go after you and they do it
Mhm.
over and over again. And I think OG is the first person who has just said, no, this is not happening. Because I just wonder, why did you recruit OG for the show if this was how you were going to treat her? And then I sat back and I said they didn't realize what they were recruiting. This
Right.
woman has a strong spirit, an independent mind, and she knows how to fight better than all of them.
And you have to look at it this way. So we start with Royce. There was
Oh,
Royce.
yeah, Royce. I
Royce.
called her the wrong
So
name.
you start with Royce. Royce wasn't backing down from nobody. She didn't care. She let you know how she felt. And we also remember Jennifer used to be Kristen, if you want to call a thing a thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
She
why
was wedged up Evelyn's butt.
oh yeah, they were best friends. Like she's like Shawnee's aunt, blah blah blah. So yeah, Jennifer was Kristen. Then you have to remember Brandy, and Brandy had her season where she was not backing down. And
Oh.
so that's another person who's of a similar palette. Then you bring in OG. So people with these palettes who don't fall in line, they have an issue with. And have they come out right away and said like, "Hey, this is not colorism. I just don't like her," and that was it. But you also see when Phoebe called her, just call her ugly. I'm like, well, what about her is ugly? What do you mean OG's ugly? I was looking at her like, hmm, explain what makes her ugly. I mean, I want you to break it down. What features that makes her ugly? Then you take it. I love the fact that she told Kristen, and she's like, you know what? Nope. You have Western European type features,
It's
and
true.
it's true. And Kristen did not. I don't know if she wanted to acknowledge it, or it seemed like it really did go over her head. I'm like, you understand what she means: the slender nose, the more oval face, quote unquote more Eurocentric features. I think they call it nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, Kristen, and you need to take it in, sit on it a little bit, and think about it. But then Jennifer jumps in saying like, y'all just want to act like OG is so aggressive. And Jennifer, I don't know what's going on with Jennifer right now. I mean, something's going on there because it's not the same Jennifer we've gotten over the last couple of
But
seasons.
she's tiresome, though.
She's tiresome, but she made some good points.
She made
She's all
one good
there. No, she made good points. Like how there are people who did her and picked up tables and jumped on tables,
That's the
all
only
that.
one that I remember. Because I had to turn around and go, who said that? I
Mm-hmm.
was surprised. And she did it without calling out any names, but everybody knew
Right.
who she was talking about.
Exactly. So, even let's go back. Even Tammy, put some hands on some people.
Oh my God.
So they, so her point is that how can you call OG aggressive when you're willing to let this woman over here, your friend, like do all this mess and not say nothing? She has a good point because had it been OG had done that, y'all call the cops on her. I'm sorry, it's true.
Let me ask a question. Evelyn, I think she speaks on OG like how a lot of people have spoken on her. Like when she made that comment, like she's OG is lying and she's only doing this for her 15 minutes of fame. A lot of people could accuse Evelyn of that. Like her atrocious behavior throughout the years is just to
Mm-hmm.
get herself out there. And we've
Right.
allowed her to get away with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just bad. You can't tell someone how to feel with their pain. I mean, you can't do that. It makes you look even worse. And that's the problem I'm really having because if you look at it, all OG really wants is them to listen to what she's saying. And they won't even
Mm-hmm.
listen.
They won't.
They'll only listen if they get an apology. I'm like, okay.
But it
Good
doesn't
luck with
work
it.
like that,
Correct.
and I I wonder, I want to know what the strategy is with this show because they're going down some really dangerous paths within, the people of color community and all of our spectrum of shades. We have a big issue with this. We have a big issue with this.
And they're trying to
And
pretend. Go ahead.
no, and I just wonder, like, it's a slippery slope. One step wrong and they could lose this show.
Yeah. And the problem with them is they're not acknowledging. How can I put this?
I don't think this
They're
is the
not,
right vehicle to discuss this. You know what I mean? Like
but
this show.
they're not. They have no understanding of optics. Zero, none. It's not. It's like they haven't looked at the last season as a whole. Look at last season first as a whole season, right? They haven't looked at it and really dissected their own behavior and taken
Mhm.
themselves out of themselves to look like, okay, I can see how she could feel this way. I have no empathy, I guess is the right word to say. Zero
Mhm.
empathy. And without them having that empathy, I don't think they have the ability to see the patterns of behaviors from previous seasons, which we've just gone over.
What did you think about Shawnee owning up to favoritism?
I find it interesting that you want to own up to it after Tammy's gone.
Quite frankly, I didn't want to hear it from her because it was forced out of her.
She had no hand to
And
play.
exactly, like and who wants to be in a group where their supposed leader is acknowledging that she plays favorites with Evelyn? No
And that's the
one.
problem. That's the problem. As the EP, you can't do that.
Exactly.
This is why I'm not a fan of people being talent and EP because you can't. You have to be able to separate the two. I feel
Mhm.
that when you are talent and you're on camera, you are fair game.
Mhm.
You can't be on screen and like, well, I'm going to play. I'm still the EP. It just doesn't work, and that's why people aren't feeling her, which is in sharp contrast to Lisa Vanderpump, Whitney, and to a degree, Mariah. They
Mhm.
were EPs, but you never felt like they used that EP to their advantage. They caught it just like everybody else.
Yeah.
They caught the business. And if you did all three of them, I understand this is Bravo. We're talking about like with them, and this is VH1. But
Yeah.
there's parallels.
Yeah.
They caught the business because they understood they were talent at that point, and they
Mhm.
dealt with it. And the cast, their coworkers on the show, treated them just like any other cast. But you look at Shawnee, you could tell there's a stark difference in the way they treat Shawnee because she's an EP. The reason why Royce didn't come back, well, yeah, she had issues with the father of her child. Okay, we understand that, but we know Shawnee didn't want her back due to Evelyn. The whole Brandy situation. You know, Brandy, like, think about this is the same pattern of behavior. Remember, Brandy basically calls her out her name, and this and that, but they still brought Brandy back that next season, if I'm correct, because they could not really fire her. Because if they had fired her, it would they would they would accuse Shawnee of abuse of power. Sorry, total tongue tied this morning.
Oh.
So they had to bring her back. That was another scandal.
I stopped
Anyway,
watching with the
and
brand. I don't
then
know who
now
Brandy is. Oh
fast
dear.
forward to OG situation. Yes, OG is saying they're colorist. They're painting she's painting Shawnee in a bad light. But they kind of had to bring her back because had they not brought her back, people would claim abuse of power. So this is just a pattern of behavior.
Didn't maybe it wasn't this show, but wasn't it I thought it was OG who said she came back to fulfill her contractual obligations. Was it this show or was it another show?
That was another show. Let's
It was
see.
another show? Okay, so it wasn't her. Oh, wow. You know,
And OG wasn't gonna let them run them off anyway. OG was not gonna let them
true.
run her off. Correct.
I
Sorry.
think I think OG is just way too smart for these these ladies on this show. And it kills me that she explains her issues and her encounters and her experiences and the various issues because you have racism, you have colorism, now you have featureism. Like she explains it so well. Not that we get to see it, but she explains herself so well.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt,
Mhm.
but I just did a quick search. So OG back on January 19th to be exact. OG said she returned to Basketball Wives because of contractual obligations.
Oh, so she was the one who said
She
that.
was the one.
Okay. All right. Because you know I'm old and I get things mixed up. So I rely on you to fact check me. So yeah, so what was I saying? She explains herself so well,
Hmm.
but yet these women seem really dumb for going, I don't know what she's talking about.
Hmm.
I it I don't understand why people still watch this show because I gave up watching it.
Hmm.
Um, the only person I used to watch it for was Tammy. But then even that got boring. So I dropped off. Some
I
of these
understand.
characters that you're mentioning, I don't know who they are, and I do apologize. I just haven't had the will to go back and look at past seasons that I missed because I don't care. And it's frustrating watching this show now.
It is because it's nothing new. It's the same fighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's um same storylines. We're getting nothing new, nothing fresh. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, not this is gonna be rude, but I don't care. COVID is not a storyline. COVID is not fresh for us. We're living through it now. We really
yeah.
don't want to see it on our TVs, but we understand we have to a degree. But
Mm.
I do want to touch on if we. I think we've kind of exhausted this.
Yeah, you want to go to Liza?
Yeah, even this one was. Um, to me, this really wasn't a storyline either because this should have been handled way long ago. Like if there's supposed to be money had, why are you waiting until 60 days out to really be honest? This should have been hammered out the year before.
Do you think that this $200,000 is in like, what do you call it? A 529 fund? You know, where you like,
Hmm.
I don't know, and it's a program where you put in money year over year and you lock in the state college rate or something like that. I
Like
don't
a
know.
CD.
Yeah, but I think it's called a 529. And then if anyone out there knows I don't have kids, so I'm not sure what it is. But I know a couple of my friends invested when their children were young into this fund, and you just save up money over the years that goes specifically towards college tuition. Like, wouldn't
Hmm.
it have been so much easier if Lamar had done something like that? Because one, you can't touch the money, and two, it's drawn down specifically for the college. So like I guess you submit which college the kid got accepted to and funds are provided to the university.
But what she
Um,
said is it was a fund set up to
mhm.
where it cannot be touched until he's ready to go off to school. I'm like, okay, that's smart. That's good. But my thing, if this is it seems like it's a fund where you're talking about. If this is accurate, why is the money? Why is the money not accessible? Why can't you see the balance? I'm confused about, was this liquid money, like liquid assets, or was this like a fund, like you said, like a CD or a money market or something like that?
I get the feeling like this is a storyline for her that is
Hmm.
more to do about nothing. Because if it is one of those 529 accounts, neither one of the two of them can touch it. I'm sure they can
Right.
see the balance as it grows. And
Hmm.
if you make contributions towards it, but it should be automatic once the kid is enrolled, the funds go to the university. I don't think they draw down funds, like going down to the bank and drawing down funds out of your
Right.
savings account. I don't think it works like that, but I
But
could be wrong.
she never said it was an account. If you notice that she never uses the word as an account. So
Hmm.
she's like, this is money for a school that neither one of us can touch. So I assumed it was in a trust or in maybe like a money market, like we've been talking about. So until I know how the money was set up and how it was,
Hold on,
what the
I'm trying to
parameters are.
find out.
And here's the thing.
529 college saving plans can be used in
Okay,
all 50 states.
and my thing is, if you don't know where the money is, how do you know it's 200? Oh, 200K.
Oh,
She's talking
she
about.
said it should be. She said it should be, as if she's alluding to the fact that based on
Oh,
his alleged past, that he
got it.
might have frittered it away. But if it's in one of these 529s, I was on the assumption that you can't touch it,
Right.
much like a CD.
But when she said we're talking 200K, that's what I heard. She said we're talking 200K. I was like, oh, that's what gave me the idea. I'm like, well, if
Well,
you know
that's
it's
all he saved
200K,
for two kids, because they got two kids, right?
mm-hmm, 100K
So
each.
only, really?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Okay.
he has some rough times. We can't discount that.
No, I get it, but like I'm thinking about Dr. Wendy Osefo with her 4 degrees, and she $1.2 million in debt for 4 degrees.
No,
Like,
that's her and her husband though.
okay,
But
still
still,
that's
I
a
get.
lot. If you divide it by two,
I mean, he might like if you're honest, if he's going to school in state, it'll be significantly cheaper. So we,
so maybe that's why she
mhm,
moved to establish
mhm,
residency.
probably,
Okay.
yep, mhm. Establish
Oh, just
residency.
talking out the business. Sorry.
I mean, it makes sense though. You move to LA for a
Mm,
fresh start.
hmm.
You establish residency.
You
He
got a
probably
job
wanted,
in state.
yes,
Hmm.
he probably wanted to go to a California school. So she's like, we can't pay
Yeah.
these out of state fees. Shawnee came up with the opportunity for her. She's so perfect. I can establish residency. I have a nice little check coming,
Hmm.
and we can cut out the out of state fees. Perfect. I ain't mad at it.
Something about that whole storyline for her just didn't make any sense for me. And I know everybody's getting on her son, like he calls her to order a burrito.
I was like, okay.
How did he get in college?
Here's the thing, and this is what frustrating. This is what's frustrating me with this show. This is way overproduced. Really?
Mm.
Come on now. Because you know well that you have a liquor store that you know they got them old school microwavable burritos. Quit playing. Quit playing.
I just can't. Okay, and we also find out that Phoebe is in quarantine and cannot join the ladies in Camp A, Evelyn's Hood, because she came into contact with someone who tested
Mm-hmm.
positive for COVID, and therefore she is in quarantine. At the time, she seemed fine. She wasn't displaying any symptoms, but the person she was in contact with did not have any symptoms either.
Mm-hmm.
So
That was
wear
good for the
your
same. Right, exactly. It's not a D people. It's a piece of cloth. Calm down. It's gonna be
mask.
okay. But overall, this episode was just. Mm,
Yeah.
I want to get into the meat next week. To be completely honest.
What did you think about Jackie at the end saying, well, I loved it that she put Jennifer in her place because, like I said, I was getting tired of Jennifer's like negative Nelly attitude. Why'd you show
Right.
up if you're just going to be this stupid? but then Jackie kind of put her in the place at the end, and it seems like more women are arriving to Camp B, Jackie's hood.
Hmm.
And how far apart are these houses?
Not far.
It seemed like what's her face had a really long conversation with her husband, Kristen.
Hmm.
I don't know why I assumed that they were on this like this house Brooklyn I am. I thought they was around the corner. Like
I thought that I thought that was
yes.
gonna happen too. Filming that they would go around the corner or something.
Oh my God. But yeah, LA's a big place. I should not have made that assumption. But yeah, that's just like I've been on lockdown for way too long. But yeah, there this show didn't really give me much. It just gave me a lot of questions. It made me feel uncomfortable. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And why I felt uncomfortable is that the only person that I trust on this show in this cast to have a intelligent conversation about really critical issues such as racism, colorism, featureism, which I didn't even know about until this show, um, would be OG based on what I'm hearing so far. And she seems to be the one that's the most heavily edited.
Correct. And she's also the most open. That's
Hmm.
another thing. She's willing to have the tough conversations where the other side just wants to say, "Well, no, you're wrong."
I think they're scared of her voice, not how she sounds,
Hmm.
but how she breaks it down, how she explains herself. Because I think that they've been sitting in their superiority and their ignorance for a really, really long time. Um, some of these women have used their crotch to get ahead, in my opinion, and have nothing else to fall back on. So now that you're pushing the big 5-0, you're worried. Act act better. Like
Do better.
stop trying to tear down other women and try uplifting them. Not everybody tunes into reality TV to see like a verbal or a physical altercation. Sometimes we do like seeing each other holding one another up. That's what I'm saying.
Agree.
I think it's time for this show to go.
I think it's honestly after this season, I think it's run its course because there's nowhere for
Yeah.
them to go. And
Yeah.
you keep bringing in these new women. It's like we have every season. It's like we get to know a new woman. Why?
And quite honestly, like moving the franchise to another city to start this mess all over again and eventually bring in the cancerous tumor amongst you to start it all over again, that's not going to fly for me because you dragged it from Miami to and destroyed Miami, dragged it to LA. Now you're destroying LA. Are you going to drag her over to Houston now? I think I'm gonna tap out. I tapped out before. I came back in now because we're doing this, but
It was funny because they started in Miami, and Miami was good. Then they started a franchise in LA. Remember that they started a franchise with
Mhm.
LA. Gloria, Laura, um, Meta World Peace's ex-wife.
Wasn't Gloria in
Uh,
Miami too?
Gloria was in Miami. Then they went and they started the franchise because I'm not sure was Gloria part of the cast.
Gloria Gloria was in Miami, but didn't
Yeah,
she
Gloria.
throw something on Shawnee and then like we didn't see her no more until she popped up in LA?
Yeah, because she was the one who had an affair with Shaq's wife. I think it was she or her sister had an affair. It was one of them. It was one of them. Was it Laura? The
I
sister?
think I
I think it
think
was
it
the
was the
sister.
sister. It was the
Sister.
sister, but Gloria
Right.
knew about it
Right.
and was laughing
So
about it or something like that. Gloria didn't care.
so Gloria was there. So then like something happened and they popped out and they wound up in LA. So the LA they had two franchises, but then Miami fell apart because there's issues with Roy. It was a mess. So all of a sudden, oh, and Jackie in Malaysia, Laura, Gloria, Jackie, Malaysia, and Meta World Peace's ex-wife. I think those were the founding five. Then Miami fell apart. So it's like they all just like they just moved on to join the LA cast. It was like okay. So at least that's how I remember it. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But I think I'm kind of on track with that because I liked Miami because
I did
I
too.
was a Royce fan.
She was my favorite because she was the little itty bitty one out of everybody. But I love how she stood her ground. She has so much going on. I was just rooting for her. I
Oh yeah,
liked her. I felt like at the time I was one of the minority because I didn't think a lot of people were on her side. But I liked her. She had a great character, a great spirit about her. She wanted to have fun, but not like hot, sloppy, drunk
right.
fun, but just have like fun. Like, I liked her. And her son was cute. I think she got to show him once and then the
That
the
was it.
father like put the kibosh on that. But yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
But yeah, but I
Yeah.
think Trey has it right. I
Yeah.
honestly see the show getting another season, so my hope is that it ends well and harmoniously. I agree. I think this
Mhm.
show has run its course,
Mhm.
and it's run its course. I'll say I want to like end it on this. The
Mhm.
show has run its course because there has been no growth.
Very true.
Um, when I say growth, I mean growth from the cast. So that's my thought on
Mhm.
it.
And I couldn't agree more. So, guys, thanks for joining us. This was Basketball Wives Season 9, Episode 3. Um, if you like our comments on the show, please leave your own comments just below. We read them and we do respond. And we thank you for taking the time to interact with us both in the live chat and in the comments section. Give us a thumbs up if you don't mind. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And most importantly, tell a friend. We want to share more with you guys now that we're back live. And so, yeah, tell a friend, have them join the conversation. Until next time, bye.
Bye.